So very good evening, one and all. My name is Madhu Parvatuneni. I'll be an instructor for this webinar. Today, we are going to talk about a simple IoT topic, which is related to controlling a device. So we have given a text like, we have promoted this topic through a simple context called convert your bed lamp to IoT lamp. So this is the sixth day of our quarantine webinar series. So now from last 5 days, we are doing it. And today, the topic is related to Internet of Things, which was our main specialization when our company is concerned. I'm from Madblocks Technologies Private Limited. I'm the founder and director of Madblocks Technologies Private Limited. And today we are going to talk about how to convert your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. For this, we need certain hardware and software as well. So this webinar will take at least 45 to 55 minutes. Okay. If you want to convert your own bed lamp, we need certain hardware and software as well. So I'll show you what hardware is required, what software is required, how to program that with a simple C++ programming language. And also we'll use a cloud connectivity between the device and mobile application. And today's class is all about IoT controlled lamp. Beside my laptop, I'm having a bed lamp which is connected. So a bed lamp is there, a bed lamp without any connectivity. It has a connectivity, it has a power supply of 230 volts AC with 0.5 ampere current. And that bed lamp, I wanted to convert into an IoT lamp by using some connectivity options on the hardware. And also by using some programming language, I wanted to control this through internet. Okay, let's jump into the topic. So what we'll write what are the prerequisites needed. Okay, what are the requirements are there. One, we need a bed lamp with 230 volts AC and current up to 10 amperes is fine. Current rating of 10 amperes, it means that it's very high current. Generally, bed lamps will used to have a power consumption of 0.5 ampere only. So we can have a bed lamp up to 10 amperes of current. Generally, it will be around only 0.5 amperes. Generally, when you go for a small bed lamps and all. Second, relay of input 5 volts and current rating 10 amperes and switching voltage is 230 volts AC. A relay is nothing but electromagnetic switch. If you are from electronics background, you can easily understand what is this relay. When you're from computers background, you should understand this as an electromagnetic switch. Relay 5 volts, 10 ampere, 230 volts AC, and relay is needed. And 3, a Wi-Fi chip, which gets internet so that we can able to control this bed lamp over cloud and all. So these 3 are required. Along with this, we need some connecting wires. That is fine. Okay, connecting wires, we need 3 connecting wires so that we can easily connect relay and Wi-Fi chip here. So these are the prerequisites. If you have these prerequisites, we can easily convert your bed lamp into an internet lamp. Bed lamp of 230 volts AC and relay 5 volts relay, and the switching voltage is 230 volts AC. As we are using bed lamp of 230 volts, we need relay of 230 volts AC, and 5 volts is a triggering voltage. Wi-Fi chip which gets internet. Generally, you can opt either Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pi. I don't opt Raspberry Pi for bed lamp because Raspberry Pi's cost is 3,000 rupees. So I opt a simple Node MCU which costs only 250 rupees. So you can opt Raspberry Pi or Node MCU. It's up to you. If your lab is having Raspberry Pi, or if you have Raspberry Pi, you can simply connect Raspberry Pi. But when you connect Raspberry Pi, the programming language will be Python mostly. But here there is a Node MCU where you can purchase it for low cost. You can purchase through online, Amazon, Flipkart. Node MCU will be available. You can purchase from the vendor, which costs only 250 rupees. Thereby, by using this, relay cost will be around 90 rupees. By using this 90 rupees and 250 rupees connecting wires, it's all about 10 rupees. So in 350 rupees, you can easily convert your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. So these are the prerequisites. So along with this prerequisites hardware, let's talk about what are the software prerequisites. Okay, the software prerequisites is cloud. There should be a cloud connectivity which acts as a bridge between the hardware and mobile application. Cloud is required because there is a mobile application here. Through mobile application, why don't we use Arduino? Vasantarayalo, we cannot use Arduino here because Arduino will not have any Wi-Fi connectivity. Okay, we can increase external Wi-Fi, but it increases cost. Yes. We can integrate either ESP8266 ESP01 module to it, but the cost of Arduino is around again 350 rupees, right? So we cannot use Arduino here because it's a simple bed lamp. So I prefer only Node MCU, which costs 250 rupees. Or sometimes if you are an IoT developer, I'll go for simple ESP826601 module also, which can easily convert bed lamp into an IoT lamp. But for a student, the better choice is Node MCU, which costs 250 rupees. It's all based on the market rate, right? Sometimes market rate goes less, sometimes market rate goes high. So, but 250 rupees is a good reasonable rate. Cloud connectivity, cloud is needed, which acts as a bridge between device and mobile application. Say your device is in Guntur and you are in Vijayawada. Say user is in Vijayawada, device is in Guntur, and user is in Vijayawada, which is about 50 kilometers radius, right? You are far away from 50 kilometers from Guntur. Say if device is in Guntur, user is in Vijayawada. If you want to control device from far away, there should be a bridge between device and user. That bridge is nothing but mobile application. But mobile application itself cannot send data to device. So you need a cloud connectivity. So the cloud connectivity will be responding to the device, will be connected with the device, and the mobile request will be communicating over it. So let's talk about flow. If you understand flow, then it's easy to build the application. User will send a request to mobile application. Mobile application will send a request to cloud, and the cloud will be sending the request. Cloud will be sending data to Wi-Fi chip. Wi-Fi chip will be sending data to relay, and relay is making your bed lamp, is controlling your bed lamp there. Now, this is a flow where a beginner can understand it. User will send a request to mobile app to cloud, because mobile app will have internet connectivity. So when it has internet connectivity, you can obviously send data to cloud, and the cloud will be pushing data to Wi-Fi chip, and Wi-Fi chip to relay to bed lamp. So when you have this simple flow, you can easily convert your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. So any doubts in the flow, you can ask me, because flow is very important, because this is the architecture of converting your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. User will be pushing data through mobile app to cloud, and the cloud will be passing the data to Wi-Fi chip to relay, and relay to bed lamp. Any doubts so far, you can ask me. Okay, so this is a flow. So I'm having Wi-Fi chip with me, I'm having relay with me, I'm having bed lamp with me, I'm having an account in cloud. I can easily use a mobile application from Play Store. And user, yes, I'm the user. So everything is there with me right away. I can simply use this flow and convert my bed lamp into a IoT lamp. So let's do that. I'll show you how to do that. This video will be recording, okay? So when you have bed lamp, relay, and Wi-Fi chip and cloud and all, you can do the same process, and you can easily convert your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. So here, step 1. I'll tell you in steps, okay? Step 1, you need to create an account in cloud. So when you talk about cloud, cloud is nothing but someone else's computer. So you need to purchase. So any predefined mobile app is available for, we are going to develop. No, predefined mobile app is there in Play Store. If you wanted to develop a mobile app, you can develop. Okay, maybe in the next webinars I will show you how to develop a mobile app. But in this webinar, I'm using a predefined, predefined mobile app from Play Store. So cloud is nothing but someone else's computer. You need to take permission. You need to take permission from them, right? So luckily, MadBlocks is also providing a cloud. MadBlocks is also providing a free cloud, free IoT cloud. And you can create an account very easily. And the URL is dashboard.madblocks.tech. So this is a URL. So we are also providing a free IoT cloud. And the URL to log in or register is dashboard.madblocks.tech. So I'm using this cloud for converting my bed lamp into an IoT lamp. It's a free IoT cloud where anyone can log in. We'll be asking you to enter your details like college name or email ID, password, your roll number, everything. It's a normal registration. So let's jump into the cloud part. So dashboard.madblocks.tech. So this is the dashboard login page, and we need to log in with the credentials. First, you need to create an account. I'm already having an account here, so let's log in. If you want to create an account, you have to click on register a new membership. When you click on register a new membership, you'll get a registration page. It will ask you to select your launchpad. If you don't have your college name here, you can select ORL Industries Hyderabad. Okay, this is our launchpad. You can select this launchpad. You can give your full name, username, a unique username, no space in the username, email ID, a proper email ID. If you want to donate blood, select your blood group. If not, you can remove the tick mark. Hall ticket number is your roll number. Password is your password. It can be any password. Mobile number, your mobile number. When you click on register, you will get a email verification to your email ID, and thereby you can easily log in. It's normal detail. The only one complication part is this. Sometimes your college name can be listed here. Sometimes it may not be listed here. It is based on the college. If you are unable to see your college name, you can select ORL Industries Hyderabad as a primary account, and you can fill this form. When you fill this form, you'll get an email verification. When you get an email verification, if you activate your account, then you can easily log in. As of now, I'm just using my login credentials. My launchpad is ORL Industries Hyderabad. Username is Madhu P IoT. This is my username. My password is here. I'm just signing in. So this is the dashboard. It is open now. And by using this dashboard, I'm just able to control my device very simply. So we are providing this cloud to all the students and faculties and researchers who wants to do something on IoT. It's just filling the registration form. You'll get a verification email. When you get a verification email, you have to click on verify your account. Then immediately, your account will be activated. You can easily log in. And this is a dashboard page. If you want to ask anything here, if you have a query, you can post a message here, and we'll be replying. Our contact support will be replying there. So let's jump into the main topic. The main topic is here in the dashboard page. You'll have a dashboard menu bar here. Side menu bar will be there. In that, you will have an option called IoT Cloud. So that is important as of now. So when you click on IoT Cloud, you will get three options here. One is called Data Cluster. Second one is called Device Access. And third one is called Tiny Apps. So here, as we are accessing device, as we wanted to access our device, so you need to select an option called Device Access. So we need to select Device Access, which is the second option in IoT Cloud in our dashboard. When you click on Device Access, you'll get the Device Access page of our dashboard. So what we have to do is we have to add our device to this dashboard. If that device is added, you can control that device from anywhere across the globe. what we have to do is we have to add our device. Our device is bedlamp, so we need to add our device. So there is an option here called add device. There is an option called add device. So here we have to enter our device name. Our device name, say webinar bedlamp. I can put any device name which is a nickname, which is something like a nickname. I need to enter my device name and tell us about your device. So I'll write, okay, I'm demonstrating the usage of IoT device. Okay, I can write anything here, add device. So I need to enter device name and I have to click on add. When I click on add, I have to enter the device name and the usage of the device. When I click on add, this device will be added. If the device is added, you can able to control the device from anywhere across the globe by using simple API. Now API has been generated for the device when the device is added to this dashboard, and using that API, you can able to access the device from anywhere. If the device is in Germany, you can able to control from here, because that device will be having some API which is applicable in any application. Okay, it can be in Python, or it can be in Java, or it can be in C++. Anywhere that API is applicable. So let's see that API. If you want to see that API, you'll have API request box here. API request box is having two types of API requests here. One is called push API request. Second one is called pull API request. Push API is nothing but uploading data. Pull API is nothing but downloading data. If you want to say something to the device, then you have to push the data. If you want to download the data, then you have to pull the data. So push pull, the name itself says that push is nothing but uploading, pull is nothing but downloading here. So if you select your device here, then it will be able to display what is the push API request of the device and what is the pull API request of the device. By using this push API and pull API, we can able to control the device from anywhere across the globe. So this is the step one. Step one is we have to create an account in OLP dashboard, which is dashboard.madblocks.tech. This is the step one. And then we have to add our device. And thereby API request will be generated for the device, and we can able to access the device from anywhere across the globe. If there is no API, then we cannot access the device. So by using API request, we'll be accessing our device. The device can be anywhere, but it has to be connected with internet. If it is connected with internet, we can access it. So API. So let me copy the API. If you look at the API, I'll copy this API into the notepad, then I will zoom there. If you look at this API is holding an API key, and this API key is very important. And the API key is device API key equal to 58A9. Some encrypted key will be there. This is the device API key. This device API key will be unique from device to device, which is added here. I can add 1,000 number of devices. I can add 10,000 number of devices here. But every device is differentiated with this key. This key is encrypted. So that key will be there in the API. The remaining words can be same for any device which is added here, but the only one changeable variable item is this API key. This API key will be varied from device to device. Okay, when you add the device, this API key will be generated, and this is a API key of our device which is added here right away. If you select the other device, then a new API key will be generated. So when you keep changing your devices here, I am having multiple number of devices, but when you do it for the first time, you'll be having only one device. So my device is 2376. So 2376 is having this API key, which is 58 something like 0F, which is ending with 0F. This is the API key. So the device API key is now ready. Now the device API key is ready. Second step. Step two is we need to understand. We need to understand how this API will work. Okay, we need to understand how this API will work. So as I said, there are push API requests for every device. There are pull API requests for every device. Push API is like uploading data to cloud. Uploading data to cloud. Pull API is downloading data from cloud. So when you talk about flow, cloud has existed. When you look at the flow, cloud is existed between Wi-Fi chip and mobile application. Cloud is existed between Wi-Fi chip and mobile application. Okay. So when you look at the flow, mobile app is pushing data to cloud. Cloud is sending data from Wi-Fi chip. So this is a flow, right? Mobile app is sending data to mobile app, is sending data to cloud, which means that you're uploading data here. Cloud cannot send data, only Wi-Fi chip. Wi-Fi chip has to retrieve data from cloud, because cloud is a machine. It cannot send data, but you can retrieve data from cloud. So this is nothing but downloading data. So mobile app has to push data, uploading data here, it is nothing but push API. Downloading data is nothing but pull API. If you understand this particular logic, then you can easily start implementing your idea of converting, bed lamp into an IoT lamp. So mobile app is sending data to cloud, which means uploading data, which means push, and Wi-Fi chip is retrieving data from cloud, which means downloading data, which means pull. Okay, so let's check this. Let's check the API. What I will do is, I'll copy pull API. Right click, copy. I'll open a new tab. Control T, I can open a new tab. I'll paste this API here. Enter. When I hit enter, it is displaying a message. When I hit enter, it is displaying a message called something went crazy, do check properly, which is a default message from us saying that, boss, there is no data to pull. So when you paste this URL here, when you paste pull, I'm talking about pull, okay? I'm talking about pull. When you copy this pull into a new tab, it is showing a message like, something went crazy, which is a default message saying that there is no data. There is no data here. Okay, let's push the data. Let me push the data. So I'll copy this. To push the data, I need to use push API. I'll copy this again. I will open a new tab again beside this. I'll paste it here. So when you look at this particular API, when there is a status called 0, instead of 0, we have to write our command, say on, then you have to hit enter. Instead of 0, many times people get confused. They'll upload 0. Here instead of 0, I have given a status called on. So on. So it is saying that data stored successfully. This is a message when you insert data into our cloud. So you'll get a message called data stored successfully, and the ID is, you'll get a unique ID from our database. So that is a unique ID of the message that will be displayed here. Now when you this is a previous tab which is pulling data. In the next tab we have given a command called on. So when you reload this tab, then you can able to see the message on, which has been uploaded with the same ID, right? This is the ID where it is displayed. It is displayed as 1611119, and the same ID you can able to see here because it has downloaded the data which has been uploaded through push API. If you could understand this particular logic, when you upload off again, in the place of on, I'll give you off. I'll give off. So I'll press this. Now data has been stored successfully. ID is 161120. Now when you reload this tab, then you can able to see the same same data which has been uploaded here, which is off. You can able to see both datas here, off and on. Pushing, when you push the data, that data can be downloaded through this pull API. This is a simple API. If you call this, all the data will be downloaded onto the device. If you want to push this, then obviously you need to use some URL. So this is pushing and this is pulling. This is pulling off and on. This is pulling and this is pushing the data. So any doubts in pushing and pulling? Because pushing and pulling are very important. I'll copy the API key of the device. I'll copy the API key of the device. I'll store it in this place. Okay, this is a API key of the device, which is generated by cloud. So this is the API key. This is the API key of the device. So this API key, by using this, I'll talk about hardware after completing software. Okay. So this is the API key which is generated by the cloud. Using this API, we can able to access mobile app data to Wi-Fi chip. So this is the API key. Next, step 3. So in converting your bed lamp into an IoT lamp, in step 1, we have created an account here called dashboard.matblocks.tech. And in step 2, and we understood how this push API and pull API is working out here. Okay, step 3. Understanding the editor. Understanding the editor. So we are using Arduino editor, Arduino IDE, Arduino IDE. But we are not using any Arduino chip. Okay, we are using a chip called Node MCU. I'll show you the Node MCU. We are using a chip called Node MCU. This is a third-party chip. It is not a product of Arduino, a third-party chip. And this third-party chip has to be configured. This third-party chip, this Node MCU, should be configured with Arduino IDE for uploading the program, for uploading or writing the program, for writing and uploading the program. Okay, by default you cannot able to see Node MCU and Arduino IDE. Arduino IDE should be configured with Node MCU. Then only you can able to see Node MCU and Arduino IDE. So let us talk about Node MCU. Node MCU. So this is Node MCU. All these are Node MCUs. This is called Node MCU. Node MCU will have multiple GPIO lines, D0, D1, D2, D3, and so on. And it is also having one serial port, one I2C port is also available. And this is Wi-Fi chip on where you can see Wi-Fi symbol here. This is a Wi-Fi chip ESP8266 family. 8266 is a bit cheap when you compare with ESP32. Okay, ESP is having two flavors, ESP8266 and ESP32. This is Node MCU ESP8266 series. Okay, and this is bit cheap. This is sufficient for converting your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. And this Wi-Fi chip is having controller plus Wi-Fi. Okay, this chip will be having both Wi-Fi and controller, and also having one analog line. One analog line is also there where you can able to see A0 here, A0. the one analog line is there, and you will be having 10 GPIO lights where you can connect 10 bed lamps to this node MCU, and you can able to control all the bed lamps. Okay, this is having USB port where you can apply power, and also where you can upload the program onto the node MCU. You'll be having USB here. I'll explain the node MCU in detail with the GPIO pins and all. But this is a node MCU. This has to be added to Arduino IDE. I'll show you how to add this board to node Arduino IDE. Node MCU. You can easily identify all this. Every image is available in Google. Yeah. So you'll be having a node USB port here. Beside USB port, you will be having reset button and flash button. Reset button, when you press reset button, the program will be restarted and the system will restart here. When you press flash button, that is mainly used to upload the program. And you'll be having multiple pins here. VIN is nothing but you'll be having VIN where you can see the label. VIN is used to where you'll get 5 volts power. Generally, if you want to apply power to this node MCU, you can apply it VIN, or you can apply USB power bank also. Sometimes some students will be using USB power banks, and sometimes people will be applying power through VIN. VIN is nothing but where you can apply voltage up to 5 volts. Ground, you'll be having ground pin here, which is GND. RST is nothing but reset. Enable, you'll be having enable pin. You'll be having enable pin, and 3.3 volts and ground also is also available here, and 3.3 volts ground is also available here, and 3.3 volts ground is also available here. There are multiple 3.3 volts ground pins which are available on node MCU, and also you'll be having MOSI, MISO, CS, SCLK. When you're from electronics background, you can easily understand this. This is the SPI port which is available on node MCU, and also you'll be having GPIO 9, GPIO 10. These are the GPIO pins where you can apply input and output. And there are some reserved pins here. Beside reserved pins, you'll be having ADC 0, which is nothing but analog to digital converter 0. You'll be having analog pin here. On the right side of this node MCU, you'll be having D0, D1, so on. D8, you'll be having D0, D1, D2, which are nothing but digital pins on node MCU. D stands for digital, A stands for analog. And beside this, D8, you'll be having RX and TX, which is a serial port available on node MCU. And also you'll be having 3.3 volts in ground. So when you look at this node MCU, every pin is having some specific functionality. Okay, not every pins are same. So every pin is having some specific functionality. If you want to use this node MCU, you should understand the pin out of node MCU, then only you can connect hardware. Without knowing this pin out, this is called pin out. Okay, understanding every pin. So without using this pin out, you cannot connect with relay, or you cannot connect with any other component with the node MCU. So beside that, you'll be having, beside this USB port, you'll be having a small square color chip where you can find in my screen. This is called USB to UART bridge. This is called USB to UART bridge. USB to UART bridge. This is also very important for uploading the program into this chip. If you want to upload the program, generally laptops will be having USB ports, right? Laptops doesn't have this UART port. Laptops will be having USB port, so that USB will be converted to UART by this chip, and that UART is available at RX and TX of node MCU. Here you can able to find at GPIO 3 and GPIO 1, their RX and TX, which are receive data and transmit data. So these two pins are available here that will be connected with this square color chip. And the data will be uploaded onto this Wi-Fi chip based on the program that you write, and based on the program, it will operate here. So you'll be having VIN and ground. VIN and ground is for 5 volts and ground. You can apply only 5 volts here, up to 5 volts. You should not apply more than 5 volts. If you apply more than 5 volts, this chip will get damaged. And there are some pins which are called 3.3 volts and ground, 3V3. That is called 3.3V. And that is available here and there across node MCU. You'll have 3 sets of 3.3V and ground, but you'll be having only 1 set of VIN and ground. VIN and ground is only 1 set. 3.3 volts grounds are having multiple sets here. But along with this 3.3 volts, 5 volts and ground, you'll be having GPIO pins. GPIO, general purpose input output, where you can connect anything at GPIO pins. You can connect input pins, you can connect input peripherals, or you can connect output peripherals at GPIO pins. So there are D. D stands for digital, A stands for analog. There is only one analog pin on Node MC, which is A0. The remaining else are digital. So SPA port is also available. MOSI, MISO, master out slave in, chip select, master and slave out, and serial clock. And these 4 pins are used to configure the SPA peripherals. Sometimes you'll be using SPA peripherals, then you have to use this pins. But as of now, we are using simple bed lamp. What is bed lamp? Bed lamp is an output peripheral. If it is output peripheral, you can connect it any GPIO pin. There is D0 available, GPIO 16 is available, GPIO 5 is available, GPIO 4 is available. Bed lamp is an output peripheral. So bed lamp is an output peripheral. Bed lamp is an output peripheral. You can connect anywhere. Bed lamp is an output peripheral, but generally bed lamp will be connected with relay. And this relay will be connected with Node MCU, which means that when you look at the flow, Node MCU will be sending data to relay, and relay is just bypassing the data, is triggering the voltage to bulb, or you can say bed lamp. So this relay is acting as a bridge between bed lamp and Node MCU. Node MCU is typically operating at 5 volts DC. But when you look at bed lamp is not operating at 5 volts DC. It is typically operating at 230 volts AC. So we should not connect Node MCU and bed lamp directly. There should be a bridge, and that bridge is nothing but relay. And that is why people say that relay is a switch, is an electromagnetic switch. So here relay, let's look at relay. I'll show you what relay I'm using today. And this is the pinout. Let us keep this pinout aside. And this is the Node MC which I'm using today. Let's search for relay. I'm using one relay. I'll show you the relay. Yes. And this is the relay which I'm using today. A simple relay, which is 10 amperes, 250 volts AC. It can operate, which is a 5 volts relay, having 3 pins in the left and 3 terminals in the right. This is a relay. Let us look at the relay pinout. Okay. Yes. And this is the relay which we are using today, which is having red LED and a green LED. Red LED is a power LED. Green LED is called status LED. If relay is on, this LED will be on. If relay is off, this LED will be off. So green LED is a status LED. Red LED is a power LED. And there are 3 pins here called IN input, ground, VCC, VCC. So we need to connect VCC to VIN because at VIN we are getting 5 volts. Ground to ground. Anyways, ground is available in Node MCU, and VCC you should apply 5 volts DC. So 5 volts is available at VIN. So VCC. So when you look at relay, you'll be having 3 pins here. Relay is a 3-pin device having IN, which is input, having ground, which is ground, VCC, which is 5 volts. So generally 5 volts will be available at node MCU at VIN. So this is the VIN connection. Ground is also available, and input. Input is nothing but you need to connect it D digital, say D0 or D1 or something like that. So here I'm connecting input of relay at D0 of node MCU. And this is a typical connection which I'm connecting today. IN, which stands for input. Input is connected to D0. I'm connecting at input of relay at D0 of node MCU. So this is a relay is a 3-pin device which is connected there. So this is a relay which I'm using today. So any doubts in relay and node MCU? If you understand this relay and this, you'll understand very easily. Relay. If D0 in the sense IN of relay, D0 of node MCU and IN of relay. If D0 is high, your bulb will be off. If D0 IN of relay is low, your bulb will be on. On this logic, your relay will be operating. When you put high logic at D0, which means IN, then your bulb will be off. When you put low logic, your bulb will be on. Okay. So when you're maintaining low signal, then your bulb will be on. When you're maintaining high signal, your bulb will be off. Which means that which is inversely related, right? When you put high logic, it is not making on, it is making off. Inversely related between the states of signal and output. So when you put low, your bulb will be on. When you put high, your bulb will be off. So on this logic, we need to write a program that are inversely related between the states of signal and output here. Okay, so let's jump into the program. Let's configure node MCU with Arduino IDE. So let me open Arduino IDE. My Arduino IDE is here. You can download Arduino from arduino.cc. Okay, Arduino software can be downloaded from arduino.cc. You'll have a software and download. You can easily download, because these days majority of students will have Arduino software. Yeah, you can easily download the software. Okay, so you'll have software and downloads. When you click on that, you'll be able to download the software. It's simple. Or you can code online, but you can download the software from here. Based on the operating system, you can just do that. Okay. Where is Arduino? Okay, so my Arduino software is on. I'm using 1.8.9 version here of Arduino. So let me tell you, how to configure node MCU with Arduino. So here what you have to do is file and preferences. File and preferences. You have to click on file and preferences. When you click on file and preferences, the preferences of Arduino software will open. So you'll have a field called additional board manager URL. This link is very important. I'll paste it here in the notepad. This link should be there. This link should be there in additional board managers URL. In additional board manager URL, this link should be there. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot access. No, you cannot access this. This should be there. At additional boards manager URL, this link should be there. If this link is available at additional board manager URL, then you can able to access this URL. Then you can able to access your node MCU in Arduino software. Okay, this URL should be there. Okay, additional board manager URL, this link should be there. Then only you can able to access Node MCU with an Arduino. Okay. If that link is available there in file and preferences, then you can click on tools. When you click on tools, you'll have boards. You'll have board and boards manager here. When you click on boards manager, okay, you can able to see a board family called ESP8266. It is just downloading all the boards available related to Arduino. It is just downloading all the software. Yes, boards have been downloaded. You can search for ESP8266. Okay. Once the link is entered there, if you have internet, then this particular family will be downloaded, package will be downloaded onto the boards manager. What you have to do is you have to select and install, but as of now it is showing remove. It's already there in my Arduino software. Okay. You need to check at boards and board manager. Okay. At tools. At tools, you need to check at board and boards manager. Yes, file and preferences. File, preferences. So at file and preferences, you need to configure the URL. This is a URL you need to configure. You need to click on file and preferences. And at preferences, you need to enter this URL, http://arduino.esp266.com/table/package_esp266com_index.json. Okay, this URL has to be placed. Generally, it will not be available at when you download the software. You need to enter this URL manually. In my laptop, it is just configured. Okay, that is why you can able to see the URL there. But by default, there will be no URL. This box will be empty, and you need to enter this URL so that you can configure Node MCU with Arduino IDE. When you click on OK, you need to go back to Device Manager. In Tools, you'll have Board and Boards Manager. After adding that URL there, you need to click on Boards Manager. When you click on Boards Manager, generally boards will be downloaded from internet. Boards will be downloaded. Once it is downloaded, then you can enter. So we need to wait until it gets downloaded. Yeah, it is downloaded. Now you can enter the name called ESP8266. So when you enter ESP8266, you'll get this flavor there. Okay, ESP8266 supports all these boards, generic boards, ESP8285 modules. Okay, SparkFun ESP8266, or BMOS Mini Pro, D1 Mini Pro, Wi-Fi Dino, Amperca, Wi-Fi slot. These are the other boards available in ESP8266 family. Okay, and we are using simple Node MCU 1.0 we are using today. So that board is also available here, and we can easily use this family for programming our board. So when you select this, you'll get install button here instead of remove. When you click on install, then this package will be installed into your Arduino IDE. But as of now, it is showing remove because it's already installed. Okay. So this is a process of integrating Node MCU with Arduino IDE. If you do this process, then you can able to see. If you do this process, then you can able to see in tools. In tools, you can able to see board Node MCU. You can able to see board Node MCU. When you download the software directly from Arduino.cc, you cannot able to see this board. Only when you do this configuration, then you can able to see Node MCU 1.0 in board manager. If you have this board here, it means that you can program this. Okay, you need to select the board Node MCU 1.0 for this exercise. So you should select Node MCU 1.0. This has to be displayed on the right bottom side of Arduino software. Generally, on the right bottom side, you can able to see board which is selected, and also the COM port number to which connected to where your Node MCU is connected. Okay, so as of now it is showing COM16, but as of now I have not connected any Node MCU to my laptop. I'll connect in 1 minute. Okay, But this is a process of integrating Node MCU with Arduino software. Okay, you have to follow this process. This process will be available in Google. If you search for how to add Node MCU with Arduino, you'll get a lot of videos around it. Okay, all these videos will be having the same process. This URL you have to copy in File and Preferences. Then you should go to Boards Manager. There in Boards Manager you have to install ESP8266. Then after that you have to come back and you have to select a board called Node MCU 1.0. Okay, you have to place File and Preferences, and then Tools, Boards Manager. There you have to install the ESP8266 family. Once installing is done, when it is installing, it will download 170 MB of data. Okay, from ESP8266.com. Okay, once it is installed, then you should come back to Tools, Board, Node MCU 1.0. So this board has to be selected for our exercise, because we wanted to convert our bed lamp into an IoT lamp. Thereby we are using Node MCU 1.0. Okay. Then we need to do programming. Let's create a new file. New file. A new file will be created. Okay, I'm just writing the program. Void setup and void loop. If you are aware of Arduino, then this exercise will be very simple, because Arduino is based on C++ programming language. Simply call it as embedded C++. Arduino will be having void setup and void loop. Void setup will be executed for only one time executable function, and whereas void loop is an infinite loop, is an infinite executable. Until the power supply goes off, this will be iterating there. Okay, so here we need to include. So here we need to include the header file, which is hash include. So there is our header file, hash include madblocks.h. This is our header file. Hash include. There is one more header file required. ESP8266 Wi-Fi.h. Then when you look at this two syntaxes, one syntax is having double quotation, the other syntax is having less than and greater than, which means that madblocks.h is not a predefined header file. It is a user-defined header file. It is a user-defined header file. I'll upload this to GitHub. You can download it from there. And this is a predefined header file. So here hash define, our relay is connected to D0. Our relay is connected to D0. So here in void setup, what you have to do? You have to take permission for D0 from Node MCU, saying that yes, D0 is connected, relay is connected, and it is an output peripheral. So this is taking permission from CPU, saying that yes, relay is connected, pin mode. Pin mode is nothing but configuring the pin, and the pin is here, which is defined as relay. So you're saying that relay is connected at D0 and it is an output peripheral. When it is output peripheral, it can assign logic, right? So here let us write some function calls. Void relay on, void, and void relay off, void. And these are the two function calls here, relay on and relay off. And inside function calls, what we have to do? We have to make a relay on. To make relay on, we have to call a function called digital write. Digital write is nothing but assigning logic. We have to assign logic at relay. To make relay on, you have to assign 0 logic. So when you assign 0 logic, then relay will be on, which is inverse, right? When you assign 0 logic, so it means digital write. Digital write is nothing but writing logic to relay pin. The logic is written here as 0, which means that there are two arguments here. First argument is the pin number where it is connected. Second argument is the logic which has to be assigned. So to make relay on, you have to make 0 logic. You have to pass 0 logic. That is when the second argument you have to pass 0. If you want to make relay off, if you want to make relay off, digital write off, relay comma 1. So this is also inverse. For off, you have to assign 1, thereby your relay will be off. For on, you have to assign 0, thereby your relay will be on. Digital write, the name itself says writing digital logic. Digital write is nothing but writing digital logic to relay pin, and the logic is 0. It means it. Okay, so we have defined two functions here. One is relay on and relay off. After this, we have to define one more function here, because internet is also important, right? So what we have to do is void connect Wi-Fi. Okay, we have to connect with Wi-Fi, and that is also important. You have to connect with Wi-Fi. So here what you have to do is, as we have included one header file called ESP8266 Wi-Fi.h for NodeMCU, this library will work only for NodeMCU. Okay, NodeMCU ESP8266. For Arduino, you cannot able to find this library. So when you upload this program for Arduino board, you will get error, because this library will not be available for Arduino. Connect Wi-Fi. So we need to reset Wi-Fi first for connecting Wi-Fi, and the function is Wi-Fi dot disconnect. So first we have to reset Wi-Fi. And then you have to connect Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi dot begin of. You need to pass the SSID of the Wi-Fi, which is nothing but here the SSID is AutoMAD, and the password is it. This is the password of my Wi-Fi network. And then you have to wait, until Wi-Fi is connected. So delay, let delay. 300 means 300 milliseconds. So here we have to write logic. We have to wait until the status is connected. So generally Wi-Fi dot status will give you the status of the Wi-Fi network. If it is connected, you'll get wireless connected. So you'll get this logic. If the Wi-Fi is connected, this will return WL underscore connected. If not, you'll get wireless not connected. So what we'll write is, we'll put not logic here, because we have to wait until. So here WL underscore connected is a value called 1, and you'll have two variables here: wireless not connected and wireless connected. Okay, wireless connected and wireless not connected. The value will be 0. So as of now we are checking wireless connected. If it returns 1 double equal to 1 will be true, not 1 is false. So it jumps to here. It says that serial.println Wi-Fi connected. Otherwise, if it is not connected, it checks for every 300 milliseconds. For every 300 milliseconds, it keeps checking there. It keeps checking there whether Wi-Fi is available or not. So here, wrote a simple logic. First we have to reset Wi-Fi, and then you have to connect Wi-Fi begin with SSID and password. So here we have to wait until Wi-Fi is connected. Thereby we wrote a not logic. Not logic will stop until Wi-Fi is connected. If Wi-Fi is not connected, it enters into while logic. Delay of 300. For every 300 milliseconds, it again checks for Wi-Fi status. If it is connected, then this print statement will be printed saying that Wi-Fi is connected. Okay, so here you can write serial.println for understanding, connecting to Wi-Fi. Okay, if you get this print statement saying that yes, Wi-Fi is connected, and this is the third function. So these are the three functions here. First function is relay on to make relay on. Second function is relay off to make relay off. And third function is connect Wi-Fi. Okay, which is checking whether to which Wi-Fi it has to connect and all. So first you have to reset Wi-Fi, and then you have to connect Wi-Fi with you need to pass username and password with begin method, and then you have to wait until Wi-Fi is connected, and then you have to print Wi-Fi connected here. Okay. So after writing these three functions here, we need to take one more variable called we need to take an object for our user-defined header file matblocks.mb. By using this object, what we'll do is we used to read data and we used to upload data here. So we need to take an object. We need to take an object called the name of the you know how to create object, right? Class name space object name. So that object will be created. So here I took an object called MB. So by using this MB object, I can access the member functions of matblocks.h. So here your logic should be always inside loop. Okay, inside setup there should be one more statement called serial.begin serial.begin of 9600 serial.begin of 9600, which is a speed and also welcome to IoT project. Okay, after this initially the relay should be off, so I will call relay off function here, and also I'll connect with Wi-Fi. Connect, what is the function name? I wrote connect Wi-Fi. Okay, connect Wi-Fi. So all these functions should be in setup. This is setup is one-time executable and a configuration function. Okay, you have to do configuration here. So here what we configured, we have configured relay saying that it is output peripheral, and we have switched off our relay. Relay has to be on only when you push data from mobile app. So that is why I have given a state of off for relay, and then I have to connect with Wi-Fi. So I made a function called connect Wi-Fi there. So I have called it. These are the function calls. So inside void loop, we have to write logic. So this logic is important. Okay. If MB, so that is a variable which we took there, read, and you need to pass the API key. We have selected 9600 baud rate. This is a default baud rate of the monitor. These are the default baud rate of the monitor. I'll show you the monitor, okay, after uploading the program. So that is a default baud rate. Baud rate is nothing but speed. Okay, that is called speed, but in electronics it is called as baud rate. That is a default baud rate of the monitor. So here I have to pass. Can we compile online? Naveen, we cannot compile this program online because we are using one header file called matblocks.h. That will not be available in your Arduino libraries. That is a user-defined header file. That is only available in my laptop. I'll share that header file with you, okay? With you all, not only with you. I'll share that header file. I'll upload this code into the GitHub along with the header file. Since you don't have this header file, you will get errors, okay? So I have to paste the API key. My API key is here. So this is the API key. I'll copy this API key, Control C. I'll paste it here. So this is the API key which has been called here. If it is equal to say on, okay. If it is returning on, what we have to do? We have to call relay on function. Else if mb.read, again you have to paste the same API key. If it is reading off, you have to make relay off. And this is the logic which we have to write. So mb.read, mb is matblocks object which is taken here. This is the object which is taken here. Okay. I'm passing a API key of the device as an argument. If it is returning on, then on double equal to on will be true, relay on. If it is returning off, off double equal to off, it will be true, and relay will becomes off. So this logic is important. Okay. If you, it always read the recent status only. It will always read the recent status when there is no connected power loss. You can write a program so that the recent state will be stored in EEPROM. Okay, there is EEPROM available in NodeMCU also. Like in Arduino, you'll be having EEPROM. In NodeMCU also, you'll be having EEPROM. You can, a program will not be erased if there is any power cut or if there is a connectivity issue. There is no problem of having erasing program. Your program will be stored on the program memory of NodeMCU. Okay, the only one problem is if there is no internet connectivity. If there is no internet connectivity, you cannot operate this lamp from far away, right? Because everything is connected with cloud. Everything is connected with cloud, you cannot operate it. That is only one important point where you have to understand. The second, when you are designing this kind of project, there should be both manual control, which is a switch control. Generally generally in our homes we'll be having a switch control, right? When you press switch, your light will be on. So when you're designing this kind of project, there should be both a switch control and also Wi-Fi control. If your Wi-Fi control is yes, if your Wi-Fi is not available on NodeMCU, you can bypass that case, right? You can work with switch also. So there should be both manual control and also IoT control. If you have both manual and IoT control, if there is any internet issue, you can switch it off manually. Or if internet is available, if everything is working properly, then you can operate through mobile app also. So in home automation, that is important, because always we cannot have guarantee that internet will be available. So you can check that. So mb.read, so this read always read the recent status. So this read will always read the recent status of the device. Okay, if the recent status is on, then it will read on. If the recent state is off, it will read off. So we are comparing here on double equal to on. When on double equal to on, we are making relay on. When off double equal to off, we are making relay off. And this is a program for converting your bed lamp into an IoT lamp. So here, three things are important. One is header file matblocks.h, because this matblocks.h is having API for our dashboard. And second, this header file, and then you have to take this object matblocks space mb, which is an object for matblocks, and then you have to specify where relay is connected. Relay, in particular, relay input. Okay, input pin of relay, and then relay on function, and then relay off function, and then connect Wi-Fi. And in connect Wi-Fi, you have to disconnect Wi-Fi first, and then you have to connect Wi-Fi. You have to wait until Wi-Fi is connected. Once it is done, then you can go to next step. So in void setup, first we have to configure the speed of the monitor, and then you need to print welcome to IoT project, and then you have to make relay as output peripheral, and then you have to switch off your relay, and then you can connect Wi-Fi. So once execution is done, immediately it goes to loop. Once execution of setup is done, it goes to loop. In loop, always is an iteratable, is an infinite executable, which is nothing but iteratable. So this always iterate. We can put a time period also. Say when we write delay of 1000, then for every 1 second it keeps iterating there. For every 1 second it keeps checking what is the data been uploaded to this API. If it uploads API as on, then this relay will be on. If it is off, this relay will be off. So this is a pretty cool code. I'll share this code. Okay. I'll upload this code. I'll compile this code first. Okay, semicolon. The program is compiling now. Yes, program is compiled. There is no error in the program. So let's go to device manager. Okay, as we have connected Node MCU, there will be device manager available in Windows operating system to check what are the devices connected to this laptop. So when you connect Node MCU, it will be able to identify a Node MCU. Okay. Yes. I'll magnify this. So here where you can able to see in ports, when you connect Node MCU with the laptop, where you can able to see POT as ports. In ports where you can see Silicon Labs CP210X USB to UART bridge, which is nothing but your Node MCU is connected to the COM port number COM4. So this port number is very important because you need to set this port number in Arduino IDE. Okay, I'll go back to Arduino IDE. In Arduino IDE, in tools, we'll have port option. In port, you need to set the port number. Port number is COM4. This is a port number which has been displaying on the device manager. And then on the right bottom, you should be able to see Node MCU is connected on COM4. Then you should upload this program. To upload this program, you have to press this right arrow or Control U. I'm pressing this right arrow. So your program will be compiled first, and then it will be uploaded to Node MCU. Okay. So it's simple. You have to identify to which port number it is connected. If the port number is okay, if it is displaying there in device manager, then you can select the same port number here. Your program will be uploaded to this Node MCU, where you can check the status also. It is uploading now. It is uploading now. So we have to wait until you get done uploading. When you get done uploading, it means that program is uploaded. Yes, program is uploaded. But to this program, we'll do little changes. Okay. Instead of okay, we'll write here inside relay on. We'll write serial print relay on to check whether this function is called or not. Okay. If this function is called, immediately relay will be on. Since you are not having any hardware, I wanted to simulate this. So I'm writing serial.println relay out. I'll upload this. So print statements will be printing there when relay is on and off accordingly, so that we can assume that yes, relay is on and off. Now the changed program is, yeah, it's uploaded. Once it is uploaded, you can open serial monitor. Serial monitor will be available in Arduino IDE, where you can see the print statements there. Okay, I'll press serial monitor. So serial monitor, what it is displaying? It is displaying field data as off and relay off. So for every 1 second, as I said, for every 1 second, it keeps reading the data. It is reading data as off, which means that relay is off. So let's use the API. So in browser, there is our API, which is called this. So let's make it on. Let's make it on. When you make it on, then at the serial monitor, it has to display on. Okay. So we got it on. When you make it off, on serial monitor, it has to display off. So this, the data which is printing on serial monitor and the data which is given at API should match. Okay. If you're sending off, here it should print off. When you're sending on, it should print on. Okay. That is the test logic which you have to check. So as of now, any doubts up to here? So someone is talking about baud rate, right? Naveen, Prashant. Sai Prashant, you are talking about baud rate, and this is a baud rate. Every monitor will have baud rate. So here it is selected as 9600 baud. In the program also we wrote 9600. Thereby we can able to see the data. If the baud rate is not getting matched, you cannot see the data there. So the relay which I have used now is generating Volta logic. So I'll put, it is all based on the relay also. Okay, it is generating one when it is on. Sometimes it will reverse. Okay, so you need to check after connecting relay. Just now I have confirmed with relay saying that yes, to make it on. Okay, what is it? So Wi-Fi is connected. It is reading data from cloud, and relay is off. I'm switching on the camera to show you the output. Okay, so now relay is off. Bulb is off. I'm just sending on command. Okay, I'm sending on command. Enter, and I'm sending on command that sends data to cloud. And your bulb is on. Okay. Again, instead of on, I'll write off. Enter, and this bulb will become off. So now this bulb is controlling through the API. And the same API you can put it in the mobile app also. That I'll show you later if needed. If you want to do it now, you can use a mobile app which is there in the Play Store. Or if you want to develop a mobile application, that I'll show you in the next webinar. Okay, how to build a mobile app there. Right. Thank you all. Thanks for joining this webinar.